Believe me, it's a really good thing that the nomads can't just come and go around Valsembor as they please anymore.
That big boat, the Crystal, it's been rotting at the dock for years.
Things are heating up for Mayor Bulyakin.
We're going to see the nomad souk. Apparently they have good prices.
Since the town hall closed the port, we sometimes get the impression we're living in a ghost town.
Hi there. Anything biting?
As if. 20 years there's been fewer fish, but sometimes you can get lucky. Go figure. It's really odd.
You seem to know the region well. Maybe you can fill me in a bit. I'd like to know a little bit more about the local legend. I was told that there's a monster down there, living at the bottom of the lake.
It's not a legend.
And how can you be so sure?
Back when, the lake froze over earlier in the season. People would go out and make holes in the ice in the middle of the lake, then fish like that. Sometimes they would even set up these cabins for the winter next to the hole. The old folk always said you should only cut a small hole, just wide enough so the fish could be pulled through when you landed them. No more than that. One day, this guy who was kind of odd cut a really big hole. To make it easier, he said. In case he caught a really big one. You don't have to believe me, but he's the one who went into the hole. Backwards. Into the depths. In less time than it takes to say it, the monster's arm came through the hole, then dragged the poor guy down to the bottom of the lake. That's why the old folks say never make a big hole in the ice, because of the monster that lurks below.
And how do you know all that?
Because the poor guy was my older brother. And I was fishing just next to him that day. So you think what you want. You have a good day, miss.
You almost fell right in the water. Have you ever thought about moderating your consumption of vodka, sir?
I-N... Oh.
Pardon?
It's me, Captain Obo. Obo! Proud commander of the just as proud Crystal. So don't you, sir, me.
Well, delighted. Captain, I'm Kate Walker. I'm looking for Steiner's, the clockmaker.
If I fall in the water, Taylor, it'll be to go straight to hell. So don't fall in the water, Sailor. You understand? bastard's waiting for me.
Who are you talking about?
The monster of the lake is waiting for us all, miss. Everyone's time comes eventually. To finish the work. Come on, back in the fight. Because you can never lower your guard. Never.
As deserted as the outside. Hello? Anyone here? Given the number of seats, this must be some kind of ferry, some kind of transport. I'll just take a peek. Nobody will ever know. Poor Captain. Even though his superstitions terrify him, he's obviously dreaming of a second chance. It looks like it needs repairs. Too bad.
Someone stole 3 chickens last night. I bet it was those damn thieving youkols again.
Excuse me, please, miss.
Yes?
I'm looking for Simon Steiner's.
Simon Steiner is my grandfather. My name is Sarah. Sarah Steiner.
Pleased to meet you, Sarah. I'm Kate Walker. Can you tell me where I can find your grandfather's workshop?
Of course. You'll find his shop is at the end of the alleyway, on the left, just as you leave it, in the main avenue. Can I ask what you want with him? Because he's rather old, you know.
I'm accompanying the youkol caravan. Apparently your grandfather is supposed to be making a mechanical prosthesis for Kirk, their spiritual chief, who had a bad accident recently. Without the artificial leg, Kirk won't be able to go along with the great migration of his people. And on top of that, the youkols won't leave without their guide.
You're accompanying the youkols? My God, you're so terribly lucky. When I was little, Grandfather used to tell me all about their adventures, full of mystery and magic.
You seem to like the youkol, Sarah. I get the impression that's rare in Valsembor.
It's true that when it comes to the youkols, people around here can be a bit silly. They go out of their way to make the nomad scapegoats for all of the town's problems since they got stuck here.
But you don't, do you?
Of course not. Grandfather told me that he has actually seen 3 or 4 of the great ostrich migrations in his lifetime, and he always really respected those strange people. He even made sure I would admire them too, you know.
I guess you're pretty close to your grandfather?
Yes. Of course he can get a bit grumpy, especially the last few years. But he's actually really adorable, and you should see the work he does. Give him a few cogs and springs, and he'll give you some unbelievably incredible invention. He almost makes mechanical objects seem alive.
I see exactly what you mean. I used to know someone like that too.
The only problem we have is that business collapsed when he got sick. I really do believe that if I didn't have the waitressing jobs to make ends meet, we'd probably have to close up shop.
Do you like life in Valsembor?
Oh, there's really not that much to talk about here, you know. I spend all my time here or with Grandfather since he got sick.
There was no one who could keep an eye on him for you?
We can't afford it, I'm afraid. I also think I prefer it this way. My grandfather is my only family.
Thank you for your help.
I'll be stopping in to see Grandfather on my next break. Maybe I'll see you there.
Yes, I hope so. Goodbye, Sarah.
Ah, miss, delighted to see that you finally managed to leave the youkol camp.
Yes, thank you very much for the pass.
Well, now that you're at last here, you'll be able to taste my famous borscht.
It would be my pleasure, but I do have to find Steiner the clockmaker right away.
Simon Steiner? Ah, in that case, you should speak with Sarah, our young waitress. She's his granddaughter.
Is Simon Steiner well known here in Valsembor?
For a long time, he was rather popular. You know, he isn't just a clockmaker. He knows everything about mechanical objects. He repaired everything for everybody here in Valsembor. He also designed the amusement park on the other side of the lake with a colleague of his. A French automaton creator, if I remember. You could say Valsembor owes a lot to Simon Steiner, miss. So when he got sick, I offered to hire Sarah to help a little. You understand?
I met that man recently. A certain Captain Obo. He doesn't seem very with it.
And he's been that way for 20 years, miss. 20 years. Can you imagine? He used to command the Crystal, the boat that made the crossing between here and the amusement park, on the other side of the lake. And he wasn't the same man then.
How are things in town? They don't seem to be going that well.
If you ask me, the atmosphere is horrible. At least half the people don't want the youkols right at our door. Most of the shopkeepers even made the decision to go on strike over what they saw as unfair competition. Also, Valsembor hasn't been the same in the last 20 years. There it is.
I'm off. Thank you again for your help.
See you soon, miss.
The way they treat the nomads around here is terrible.
Everyone's been surly the last few months.
Looking for cigars or some hooch? I'm even cheaper than the nomads.
No youkols in Valsembor! The shopkeepers can't take it anymore! The shopkeepers are on strike!
There have been 10 thefts from my shop since those savages showed up! Mr. Mayor, who's gonna pay?
Excuse me. What's happening here?
Isn't it obvious? We're demonstrating against having the youkol nomads parked on our doorsteps.
But what for?
Since they came to Valsembor, there's been no end to the shoplifting and vandalism, and on top of that, their souk is taking our customers. Mayor Bulyakin has to do something, and fast. We're not leaving until he receives our delegation.
But why won't the mayor talk to you?
Because he's a schmuck. He wants the nomads to continue their migration as much as us, but he's too afraid of annoying his higher-ups. And while he's gaining time by playing both sides of the board, we're watching our sales go through the floor.
The authorities are asking the mayor to prevent the migration from continuing? They want the youkols to stay blocked in Valsembor?
That's what people are saying, but if you want my opinion, the only thing the mayor is waiting for is someone to get rid of those savages without him having to get his hands dirty. It's kicking off near the town hall.
I don't like that new waitress working in the tavern at all.
You should have seen it back when the port was still open and booming. You'd never even heard of a strike.
Lost your way, pretty girl?
Steiner. Hello. Are you Mr. Steiner? I'm sorry to bother you, Mr. Steiner. My name is Kate Walker, and I've come to pick up the prosthesis for Kirk, the youkol spiritual guide.
And well, dear Miss Walker, Dr. Efimova has informed me that the young man was not yet in any sort of condition to withstand the operation, and that...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
It is impossible. That pendant you have around your neck. I would be very obliged if you would entrust me with it for a moment. Please, Miss Walker. Mein Gott! An XZ-2000 automaton heart in perfect working condition. A compensating spring memory. Pendulum ventricles and small mechanical pumps. Everything seems in excellent condition. Donnerwetter! Where on earth did you steal this, Miss Walker?
I did not steal it. It's a souvenir. It's all I have left of Oscar. A very dear friend.
Ah, so. And yet I am actually very familiar with this type of precision mechanism. An infernal precision. Incredible, unique expertise. For this was a Vorarlberg automaton, Miss Walker.
Yes. It was Hans Vorarlberg who designed this object. Tell me, did you know him?
Oh, yeah. He even lived here a few years. We did a lot of work together. He taught me so many different things, you know. So it is useless to try and make up silly stories, Miss Walker. And I am afraid that I am not about to allow you to leave here as long as you have not told me the truth about where this object comes from.
Mr. Steiner, Oscar was a very special automaton. He inspired almost human emotions. But today he doesn't exist. He isn't dead, of course. Because what has never lived cannot die. Oscar was just dismantled. It had to be like that. All that I have left of him is that heart, a heart made of metal.
It's far more than just a heart, miss. It's far more like a kind of mechanical hard drive. A computer that is full of cogs, gears, and springs, but...
Mr. Steiner, are you all right?
My heart... need... my medication. Quickly!
Just don't move. I'll go and get your medication right away.
My heart. I need my medication. Quickly. Thank you for your precious help, my dearest Miss Walker. I'm afraid I may have judged you somewhat hastily.
Don't mention it, Mr. Steiner. Tell me about the prosthesis. I need to take it back to Kirk very quickly, if, of course, you agree to let me have it.
Yeah. I just have a few small adjustments to make. It involves very precise and meticulous mechanics, understand?
Will it take long? I'm sorry to insist, but I also have to give a hand to those unfortunate youkols. I need to help them get across the lake with their herd of ostriches. I'm so worried about them.
Once the mechanical leg is at last ready, I can go to the clinic and bring back young Kirk to you. That way you only have to worry about what happens to the other youkols.
You'd do that, Mr. Steiner? That would really be a great help.
So, perfect. But dear Miss Walker, are you aware of what lies in store for the nomads when they reach the other side of the lake?
You want to talk about everything that happened in Baranor 20 years ago.
How on earth did you hear about the story, miss? The authorities have always done everything that was in their power to keep this terrible business absolutely quiet.
I read the ship's log that Captain Obo wrote at the time. Tell me exactly what happened there, Mr. Steiner.
It has become a true hell on earth since the time of the last great ostrich migration. Please join me downstairs for a moment, Miss Walker. I'll show you exactly what I mean.
The film's missing.
Baranor, the cursed city. Baranor, the martyred town. Baranor has been nothing but a field of ruins and desolation since a week after the explosion of reactor number 3 in the nuclear power plant. Valsembor is on the other side of the lake, sheltered from the prevailing wind, and fortunately it seems to have been spared from the deadly radioactive clouds. Our town was mobilized to go to the aid of our neighbors. Although our town's means were modest when compared to such catastrophes, there were nonetheless among us some brilliant mechanical engineers. In record time, they developed a small army of automatons capable of helping the affected people. Those men and dogs of steel could go where a human could no longer set foot without becoming seriously ill. Over there, they could be excavators, rescue workers, and treasure bearers.
Oscar! They all look like him.
Truly magnificent pieces, nicht wahr? The XZ-2000 model is most assuredly one of Hans's major masterpieces.
Their mission was to bring back any survivors of the catastrophe to Valsembor, where the victims would receive the best care in Dr. Zemyatine's clinic. The Crystal, the ferry usually responsible for linking the towns of Valsembor and Baranor every day, carried the new type of rescuers to the scene of the drama, and brought back the survivors of the catastrophe.
So Baranor suffered the ravages of a nuclear accident. But according to that film, the automatons you designed with Hans should have helped save lots of lives, right?
I'm afraid that's not how things went. Because of Captain Obo, who... Ah, that must be Sarah. Please come this way, Miss Walker. I'll introduce you.
Fantastic! Fantastic! Kirk's prosthesis, but it looks like it isn't finished. Tools that would have suited Hans.
Miss Walker, may I introduce you to Sarah, my granddaughter?
We've actually already met. Haven't we, Sarah?
I actually owe Miss Walker a candle. Thanks to her calmness and peace of mind, I'm still here and on my feet. She found my medication and gave it to me before it was too late. Donnerwetter.
You don't mean you had another attack, do you? Ah, you're being so very naughty, Grandfather. You absolutely must let Dr. Zamiatin examine you.
Come on, stay calm, my little child. When I go to the clinic to take the prosthesis to the young youkol, I'll stop by and see the good doctor. Until then, why don't you make yourself really useful to Miss Walker? She's looking for some way to transport the youkol caravan to the other side of the lake.
Well, I think I've already found the solution. The boat in the film, the Crystal, it must be the ship that's docked in the port. If it was able to transport the automatons you and Hans built, it could carry the ostriches across the lake.
Ah, that's not a bad idea. But unfortunately, there's a slight problem of size, dear Miss Walker.
What on earth do you mean?
Obo became a poor wreck when he simply abandoned our automatons in Baranor. The coward now drowns his sorrows in vodka. He's convinced that he fled because of the monster in the lake. Heh! Apparently the imbecile saw the monster, Himmelgott. So he went back on his tracks, abandoning all the automatons in Baranor as well as the people they were there to rescue.
Grandfather, I know you're still really angry with Captain Obo because he abandoned the automatons that you built with your friend Hans in Baranor. He was supposed to wait for them. They were going to take all the survivors they found in the rubble to the boat and then bring everyone here to safety in Valsembor. But in the end, when he got to the beach at Baranor and saw the disaster and all the dead, he became really afraid. The disease, the radiation. He must have had an uncontrollable panic attack, so he immediately turned back, dumped the machines on the crystal into the lake, and came back empty-handed to Valsembor. And the automatons have been there ever since, in hell. But who knows? Maybe today he'll want to sell. I'm sure Kate will be capable of convincing him to help the youkols. I have to go do my waitressing shift in the tavern. Come by and see me later on, okay? Captain Obo will be there.
All right then. I'll try and convince Captain Obo. Thank you for everything, Mr. Steiner.
I don't know if I really should wish you good luck, dear Miss Walker. Baranor is only an open grave now.
A prototype for the clinic aviary? Captain Obo?
What do you want?
May I sit down for a second?
Go ahead.
Well, I'm sorry to impose, but I actually really...
You know, you kind of remind me of someone. The wife of the quartermaster that served on board the Crystal after the war. Do you realize he got married to the first cousin of the wife of a machinist?
Oh, okay. That's all really interesting, but what I wanted to ask...
That's a really great story, really. Because, did you know? So there. So the guy answers, I don't know nothing, Captain. Turns out he was hiding in the broom closet. Hilarious. Irina, the wife of the quartermaster, her name was Irina Malevna. Crazy how much you look like her.
Oh, gee, it's getting late. I have to go. You can finish telling me the story another time, Captain Obo. That shape there in the water, what is it?
Is everything okay, Kate?
Not really. I'd like to ask Captain Obo if the youkol caravan can go on board his boat to cross over to Baranor. But I can't get a straight answer. He's completely sloshed.
I'm sorry, miss, but I really think you're wasting your time. He's getting drunk again to forget his crimes, like he always does. To forget he wasn't brave the way a captain should be. Can you believe it? In Baranor, he just picked up and abandoned his passengers. And I know, he'll never want to see that cursed place again.
I'm not sure that's true, lad. Even if he does drink a lot, the captain's a pretty good guy. Say the right thing, and you may be able to convince him.
If I'm ever lucky enough to find him sober, even for a moment, I need that drunkard to listen to me.
Maybe I can help you with that. I'll make him one of my famous small restoratives. After that, he'll want to sleep for 3 days, but at least his mind will be clear.
I'd really appreciate that. Thank you so much, both of you.
Don't mention it. The way the youkols are treated here is an absolute disgrace, so if we can help out...
Has Captain Obo taken the crystal out of port since leaving Baranor?
He's been far too drunk ever since then for that.
And anyway, the port's been closed since the tragedy of Baranor 20 years ago.
Do you think the crystal is still in sailing condition after all this time?
I'm sure there'll be a few repairs to do, but Obo never stopped keeping it in shape, you know. He loves his boat, despite everything.
Do you know why Captain Obo fled Baranor?
He must have been completely traumatized by what he saw there. The catastrophe, the victims, and then the radiation. He unloaded the automatons on the beach, but he didn't expect they'd bring the survivors back right then. He just cracked, completely snapped. Full astern and goodbye all. Can you even imagine?
Afterwards, he came up with that story of a sea monster appearing and attacking his boat.
Yes, the old legend of the monster of the lake. Convenient, isn't it?
Who knows what became of the victims and automatons the captain abandoned?
No, everybody hates the captain for that. But nobody volunteered to take the helm of the crystal in his place to pick up the survivors. If there are any left in Baranor. They're all dead now, that's for sure.
Grandfather says that the automatons would have broken down really quickly with nobody to maintain them.
Go see the captain. Sarah will bring you the restorative when it's ready.
Go and talk to Captain Obo. I'll bring you his restorative. Take this, Captain. This one's on the house.
My God! This pisswater unbattens the hatches, swabs the deck, and opens the portholes. Hello, Miss.
My name is Kate Walker, Captain Obo. We met each other earlier.
To what do I owe the honor of your presence at the table of the regrettably famous Captain Obo?
This is good news, Captain. You're back at the starting block again. You have a new beginning, a new dawn.
Haha! Now that's a good show of spirit, Miss Walker. What'll you be having now? It's my round.
I'd rather you listen to me. You're my only hope of finding a solution to my problem.
Do tell me about it, please, miss.
Because the youkols and their ostriches are stuck here in Valsembor, it's causing a serious problem among the people in your community. Plus, the nomads have to continue their great journey. Only you, Captain Obo, can defuse the situation by taking them on board the crystal.
You're very wrong, Miss Walker. Everybody will tell you that I'm incapable of giving a hand to anyone.
I took a look at your logbook, Captain. I read what you wrote when you fled Baranor.
So in that case, you know what I am, right? I'm damned and rotten to the core.
Let me tell you something, Captain. I know that you need to redeem yourself, and I just may be able to help you do that.
How in the hell?
Take the youkol caravan to Baranor in the crystal. The migration must go that way.
Baranor? That's impossible. You can't go to there anymore. Never again. Too much happened. Too many died. And also there, in the water, I saw the hellish red eyes of the monster of the lake. Beast as big and long as my boat. Ask your youkol friends what they think about it. They call it the Kilak, the evil spirit of the lake. The devil guarding the doorway to hell.
Captain, I think it's time for you to clear your head of all these fanciful stories designed to scare people. Everywhere in the world where the water is deep, people have come up with legends designed to keep children safe. Come on, get up, Captain Obo. Show me what you're made of.
Ms. Walker, first of all, I have to say that you're an incredibly stubborn woman. I'd even say that you're a real, Anyway, I'll stop there. But I get it.
And what am I to conclude from your appraisals?
All right. You can get your gang of little savages and board the crystal. I'll take you.
Oh, thank you, Captain, really, with all my heart. And thank you on behalf of the youkols.
Oh, but be careful now, Captain Girl. You're not there yet. There are 2 conditions, and they aren't negotiable. First, we stop by Narodas. It's a little town just a bit south of Baranor. That will mean we avoid the most radioactive zones, but it won't actually take you too far off your path. And second, we also sail by day. I'm not going to finish up on the lake monster's plate. And it sleeps during the day. The beast is usually a bit of a night owl anyway.
I accept, Captain Obo.
In that case, all hands on deck now, sailor, because we've got work to do before we can hoist the anchor.
Come on, Kate. You hurry off and meet with the captain before he changes his mind. I'll go tell Grandfather to join you on board the crystal with Kirk.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, Captain. How are the preparations going?
There's quite a bit of work to do before we can hoist the anchor, Miss Kate.
Maybe I can help you out with something.
Well, the coal needs to be stocked up. As for myself, I'll look after getting the water tanks ready to be filled. Take this. It's the code you need for entering the hangar where the coal is kept. You actually need it to use the crane to load the coal onto the crystal. Don't forget to open the storage hatchway first.
How do I open the hatchway to the coal storage on the crystal?
Just turn the wheel on the ship's bridge, sailor.
What do I need to do in the hangar?
That's where you'll find all the coal you need for the crystal. One container should just about be enough. And don't forget to use the entry code for the crane that I just gave you.
What do I need the crane for?
This here is for loading all the coal you get from the hangar onto the ship. Use the code I gave you so that you can access the control post.
I'll take care of that, Captain.
We need to set sail as soon as possible, so better hurry up.
Oh, gosh! wasting the coal by emptying it here. No point wasting the coal by emptying it here.
Apparently you did a very good job loading all the coal, Kate. Right. Everything's ready, so we can start filling the water tank. Now we need to connect the water tower to the crystal, then climb up there to manually activate the water flow mechanism.
Let me guess, you're counting on me?
When you're finished, come and see me on board. There's still a lot to do before we're shipshape.
I took care of the water, Captain. Everything went smoothly. Is everything okay?
No. The ignition key for the crystal. I can't find it anywhere. Without it, we can't even start.
Come on, just relax. The key has to be around here somewhere.
Good Lord, now I remember. 20 years ago, when I got back from Baranor without the automatons, everybody was really very hard on me, you know.
Captain, I don't really see what you...
So I spent the whole night in the tavern. You should have seen the state I was in when I got back to the Bridge of the Crystal and... And then I threw the crystal's ignition key into the water. I swore I'd never set sail on the cursed waters of the lake again.
So that's it? The ignition key is lost forever?
Yeah. I'm afraid so. I'm really sorry, Kate, but we're stuck. I've made a complete mess of everything again. Again.
There has to be a duplicate for the key.
I don't know. At any rate, when Steiner finished building the crystal, he only actually gave me the one.
I saw a model of the crystal at Simon Steiner's. Is he the one who designed the ship?
Yes, of course.
Maybe he could be of some help then.
Maybe. Who knows?
Don't be so hard on yourself, Captain. I'll find a solution to the key problem.
If you say so. It's all a wreck.
Kate, how are the preparations with the captain coming along?
We're making progress, but actually we need some help from your grandfather. Is he here?
He just left for the clinic with the artificial leg he made for the youkol guide, Kirk. I'm minding the shop until he gets back. Maybe I can help you with something?
It seems the captain has misplaced the ignition key for the crystal, and without it we won't be able to leave. So as it was your grandfather who designed the crystal, I figured he just might have a duplicate.
I have to admit, I don't see where you could get one of those. Apart from the model downstairs, I don't think he kept a lot of souvenirs of the time when he built the crystal.
Would you mind if I had a look?
Of course not. Here, take this. It'll let you look at the model close up. The model of the crystal is downstairs.
An ignition key. But it looks far too small for the crystal.
Fantastic, Kate. I have to admit, you really know how to get things done.
Thank you, Captain. Are there any other preparations to carry out?
There's just one last problem to solve. The locks we need to use to get out onto the lake. They're shut by order of the town hall. You have to find some way to get them open.
What do you suggest?
The best thing to do is to ask Mayor Bulyakin for the authorization to reopen them. But just to give you fair warning, he's about as straight as a crooked waterspout, so you mind him. Or you could just get a hold of some explosives and then kaboom!
First, I'll try talking to the mayor. Thanks, Captain.
My dear friends, keep calm. Please, keep calm. I beg of you.
We'll calm down when we get what we want!
Yeah, nomads out.
Kick the
People are
youkol
getting
out right
more and more
now, or the
excited
strike
here.
will get
Be a
worse.
riot if it goes on.
It's all words! We want action!
Listen, my dear friends. I'm ready to work with you to find solutions to a very
Mr. Mayor?
Yes? What now?
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor. Please forgive me for intruding like this without an appointment at all, but I'd just like to start off by saying thank you for your time. I know how precious it is.
You are completely forgiven, my dear lady. How can I help?
Do you think it would be possible to open the locks in the port?
I beg your pardon? Did you say the locks? What on earth for?
I'm actually accompanying the youkol tribe on their long journey right now, Mr. Mayor. I've asked Captain Obo if he would take us to the other side of the lake on the crystal to now dusk.
Oh, Captain Obo, the crystal, the youkols. Do go on. Anyway, it would be very ungracious of me if I were to criticize you for removing that burden from our good town. Nonetheless, I'm afraid I must refuse your request, dear lady. The locks will remain closed until further notice. This decision came from above, you understand?
Listen, Mr. Mayor. You and I both know that the real problem is that you want to keep your voters' support without ticking off your superiors. And I might just be able to help you.
Really? And exactly how might that be?
Open the locks and I'll leave with the youkols. Then you just have to tell the authorities that I committed some kind of sabotage. They'll gladly believe you. I have a very bad reputation, you know. And that way, you'll come out smelling like a rose.
Well, I have to admit, dear lady, that your arguments have convinced me. I am authorizing you to open the port locks so the crystal can leave. Nonetheless, you should know that there is a technical problem that means the locks have to be opened manually. I imagine that such an inconvenience isn't likely to deter a woman as determined and resourceful as you.
Do you mean that?
Yes, as the local technician is absent, I'm afraid you'll have to delve into the murky waters yourself to open the locks. Nonetheless, this should help you use the underwater mechanism.
But how am I supposed to dive?
That, dear lady, is your problem, I suppose. Do have an excellent day.
If you were only here to see this, Oscar.
Well?
The mayor gave us authorization to open the locks, but I have to do it manually, by diving down into the port.
I can probably help. There should still be some old diving equipment you can use in that shed at the end of the seawall.
I've never gone diving. But if you think I'll be fine down there, I don't mind trying.
This has to stay between the two of us, Kate. There's something you need to know about the locks. They're also there to stop the lake monster from entering the port. Anyway, that's what I heard. But at this time of day, there's no risk. That spawn of hell sleeps all day.
Do you really believe there's a monster down there in that lake?
You know, 20 years ago, it really wasn't Paranor that I was afraid of. Not the deaths, the radiation. That's what people say, but the truth is that it was actually that damn monster that made me scoot away like a minnow. It was lurking around Paranor, drawn by the stench of the graves, probably. I saw its red eyes staring at me, Miss Walker. That's something you never forget.
Where's a suit I can use?
Meet me in the shed at the far end of the seawall. There should be something just about your size. I mean, near enough, anyway.
Underwater? How am I supposed to open the lock gates?
They're kept in place with some kind of steel locks. Just try and pull them out using their mechanism.
All right. There's nothing to it.
Meet me in the shed at the end of the seawall.
Believe me, it's a really good thing that the nomads can't just come and go around Valsembor as they please anymore.
That big boat, the Crystal, it's been rotting at the dock for years.
Things are heating up for Mayor Bulyakin.
My squid is absolutely fresh, miss. Listen, miss, it's fresh.
It isn't watertight enough to fill the bottles. could have left these marks?
Well done, Kate. I couldn't have done better myself.
Well, if everything's ready, I'll go and get the youkols right away.
In the meantime, I'll go and make sure that everything's all set. By the time you come back here with the nomads, we'll just have to cast off.
Perfect. I'll see you later, Captain.